Hello everyone and welcome to the UkeStuff channel. Today I wanted to talk about how I measure these ukuleles for the UkeGuide. And I figured that I had not talked about that, so I thought I would do that real quick here. Now before I begin, I use 4 tools. The first one is a digital caliper. These are not very expensive and there are some that are more accurate, but for what we're doing, which is measuring the width of a saddle or the space between strings, that's enough. The second one is a tool that I think everybody should have. It's a string action ruler. I always measure action by millimeters. I know some Americans like to do it by the fractions of an inch, but millimeters seems to be a standard measurement worldwide on nuts and action. So I use a string action ruler, and I've got a couple of those, and that's a great addition to any collection. I have, again, a simple tape measure, just one of these little portable tape measures that's kind of flexible if I need to do that. And then the final thing that I have is a United States postal scale that I use to weigh the ukulele. So let's just do a quick set. This is for the Enya Smart Ukulele. So the scale length is concert, that I know already. The measured scale length, I need to measure from the nut. I go from the very, very bottom of the nut to the top of the saddle. So I will do that here. And this I measure in inches. And so this one looks to be 14 7/8 inches long. So it's not quite 15 inches on this particular instrument. When we talk about number of frets, you find your 12th fret, obviously, you can count them all individually, but there's your 12, 13, 14, 15. There's a dot there. Sorry, move down. Dot there on the 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 18 frets on this concert. All right, as you can see, it's a normal double bout shape, so nothing out of the ordinary there. The soundboard here is HPL mahogany print. The back and sides are HPL mahogany print. The fretboard is this unique smart fretboard that I'll be talking about in the review. The button to turn it on, by the way, is right here if you can't see it. The bridge, I'm not sure what it's made of. I couldn't even find the specs online. It might be made of Richlite, but it's a pull-through bridge, so you can't tie the strings on there. They go through the bridge, underneath, into the HPL, to probably what is a bridge plate in there, which I'll get a chance to look at later. It has, I think, a radius fretboard. It's really hard to tell, but for sure the saddle is radius. So I think that the fretboard has a slight radius too. The nut and saddle are composite, and as you can see, the saddle is compensated to allow, in there you can see the curve a little better, but the saddle is compensated to make the A string and the G string a little bit shorter than the C and the E, and the E is a little shorter than the C, to help with intonation based upon the fact you have thicker strings in certain spots. It's a satin finish, and the tuners on this one are closed gear tuners with the Enya label on them. All right, let's measure the overall length. I'm going to go from the highest part of the top of the crown here, or the top of the headstock, all the way to the bottom, but I do not measure the strap button. It is 24.5 inches long. The next thing I check is the weight. So I bring out my postal scale and I turn it on. And then I set the ukulele in a way that it rests completely on that without touching anything else. And it's 1 pound, 7 ounces exactly. I turn on the extra light here so we can see a little better. Up here is the first fret. And as I look at it with my string action ruler, as I follow along, there's 0.5 right there, and it's underneath the string at that point. As I slide up 0.5, and that's really the magic number for me, it is actually lower than 0.5 at the first fret. It's not as short as 0.25 did, but it's shorter than 0.5, so really low action at the first fret. And then we check the 12th fret right here. So as we slide along, we look to see where it buds up against that. And it certainly looks, 2.25 is not enough. 2.5 is, and 2.75. So we're looking at less than 0.5 millimeters at the first and about 2.5 millimeters at the 12th, which is great action. Now for nut width, I'm going to use my digital caliper, which is set in millimeters. The total width here, as I measure it, you can see right there, 36.25 millimeters. I always double check. There I'm getting 35.81. So either way you look at it, it's a 36 millimeter nut, depending on where you measure it, because it does slope out a little bit. The space between frets at the first fret, this is kind of a cool part, is that you can take a caliper and use these top parts to measure space in between. And I kind of just go until the strings start to bow a little bit. And then I see if I can use that same measurement without making any of them bow as we go. And that's a pretty good measurement there. 8.85 millimeters between each string at the first fret. And then G to A is going to be somewhere around 29 something. So this one I use this setting for, I use this side of it. And let's see what we can get here. 28.92. So about 29 millimeters G to A. The last thing I test is the depth at the third fret. What I do is I go from the top of the strings to the neck, and I just let that sit on there loosely like that, and check out the third fret, and I pull it off, and I see what it says, and it's 21.51 millimeters. And that's how I do my measurements on a ukulele as I get them ready for review. Now, there are going to be some people that will have even more accurate tools, but for what we're doing, it gives you a really good image of what the ukulele is all about in terms of the specs that probably matter the most. Alright, thanks for watching the video, and I will be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.